let me ask you, Mike, speaking of that, on that same topic, Cam Heyward. I thought Andrew Filipponi made a good point yesterday on his show. Cam's already got his money for this year, basically. I mean, he's already got that $13 million something bonus. So, and he only has a $1.3 million base salary. He doesn't have a whole lot to lose by sitting out games. The Steelers do have a whole lot to lose by him sitting out. He seems to have the leverage there. Do you think it's going to come to that? Because everybody seems to believe it's a foregone conclusion that, this will get worked out, to which I say, well, then why, if it's so easy, why hasn't it yet? Do you think he's going to wind up sitting out even a game?
I think right now he's saying that he's willing to sit out games because he's trying to create some type of leverage in a situation where he has very little. I just don't know if when push comes to shove, he's really going to be willing to do that, because the way that I look at it, if the Steelers are going, quote unquote, all in or anything close to it, the only reason they would be doing that is to try to win in this current window with this defense. And the guy who benefits most from the aggressive offseason is Cam Heyward himself. So while he would be sacrificing money and he doesn't have a lot of money necessarily tied up in his game checks, that's where I think that it would complicate his legacy, or people would look back and question this. And I don't know that he would truly in his heart be willing to take things that far.
Who, in your opinion, or perhaps your reporting, leaked this story, Mike? Cam's side or the Steelers' side?
Only in my opinion, not in my reporting. It has to be Cam's side, though, because the Steelers like things to be quiet. They don't like distractions. I can't see what the benefit would be for Omar Khan or a member of the front office to leak this kind of thing. On the flip side, Cam is trying to bring attention to this situation. We didn't even realize he was holding in, if you want to call it that, because he actually practiced in full the very first practice, including 11 on 11. So it was kind of a bizarre way that this all came about. So I feel like it had to have come from his side, and then coupled with him, making the public and the big dramatic move of sitting out. But in terms of how this gets done, there's a couple precedents here in play. The Steelers historically do not like to give out guaranteed money to guys after their first year. And there are lots of guys, unless your name is TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, or a quarterback, you're not going to get that into your next year, which is really, I think, the root of this whole debate and this whole contract dispute. On the flip side, there is some bit of precedent of a player asking for more. In 2004, Jerome Bettis took a massive pay cut, played for just about $1 million that season. He went on to score 13 touchdowns and go to the Pro Bowl. And he told me that he went back to the team and said, okay, now I need a raise. If you wanted me to take this pay cut, I just had a Pro Bowl season, which is kind of eerily similar to what happened with Cam in terms of going to the Pro Bowl and earning all-pro recognition. The difference is Jerome was at the end of his contract. He only had 1 year left at that time. The other difference is he was only making $1 million. It was bargain basement compared to Cam Heyward is making significantly more than that, about 14.5 on an annual basis on this new contract.
So, all right, if it came from Cam's side, in your opinion, do you think he miscalculated, maybe not realizing that he would sort of instigate a bonfire among fans going after him?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much Cam really factored that in. But, part of this, when I look at Cam Heyward, a couple of years ago, remember, there was that graphic that came out. And it was like, you have $10 to build your dream defensive line. And Cam was listed as something like a $3 defensive lineman. And he took so much offense to that. And I feel like a lot of what's going on with Cam isn't even necessarily the money itself, even though obviously it helps to have those zeros in your bank account. I think some of it has to do with the respect factor of, he's always been this guy that's been very good, but is he a Hall of Famer? It took until later in his career to earn the Pro Bowl nods and the All-Pro nods. But he's trying to make his case that he's a Hall of Fame worthy guy. And I think he wants to be paid like a top-tier guy so that that's part of the discussion. So for me, I think a lot of this, you hear him talking about, I want to be valued. I think that he's always felt like there wasn't enough respect for him. And it seems to me like this is another example of him trying to say, like, look, you have demand the respect that he thinks that he deserves.